3 months of silence, 3 months of peace, then comes the knock. I'm sprawled on my couch, Sunday afternoon, watching the Rams lose another game. Beer in hand, remote within reach, not a care in the world. That's when I hear it, 3 soft taps on my front door. I pause the game, set down my beer, and walk over. Through the peephole, I see her. Jessica. She looks destroyed. Hollow eyes, trembling hands, wearing clothes I don't recognize, cheap, wrinkled, desperate. She's crying. I open the door. Mark, please, I need to talk to you. I made a mistake. Can I come in? She whispers. I stare at her. Don't move, don't speak. Then I smile. You want to know how this happened? 3 months earlier, I was still married to the woman standing at my door. Friday night, same couch, same beer, different game. I remember that night clearly because it was the night everything changed. Jessica was upstairs getting ready for another girls' night out, her third that week. I could hear her heels clicking across our bedroom floor, could smell her expensive perfume drifting down the stairs. We'd been married 3 years, met at Sarah's birthday party, hit it off immediately. Jessica was 26 then, stunning, charming, with this laugh that could light up a room. I was 29, just starting my own electrical business, working 16-hour days to build something real. Those first 2 years were good. Great, even. We rented this little 2-bedroom house in Maple Grove, nothing fancy, but it was ours. I'd come home covered in drywall dust and wire scraps, and she'd have dinner waiting. We'd talk about our future, about kids, about the bigger house we'd buy when my business took off. But something shifted 6 months before that Friday night, small things at first. She stopped asking about my day, stopped initiating conversations, started spending more time on her phone, always angled away from me, always with that secretive smile. The intimacy stopped too, not gradually, just stopped. When I'd try to touch her, she'd find an excuse. Too tired, she'd say, or too stressed, not tonight. Always something. Then came the girls' nights. Every Tuesday and Friday, sometimes Saturdays. Always dressed like she was going to a club, not grabbing drinks with her college friends. When I'd ask where they went, she'd give vague answers. Just around, she'd shrug. You wouldn't know the place, nowhere special. I knew something was wrong, but I ignored it. Classic denial, right? Your wife changes everything about herself, and you convince yourself it's just a phase. That Friday night, Jessica came downstairs looking like she was ready for Fashion Week. Black dress I'd never seen before, heels that cost more than my monthly truck payment, makeup applied like she was meeting someone important. Don't wait up, she said, not even looking at me. Where are you going? I asked. Sarah's, I told you, she replied curtly. But she hadn't told me. She never told me anything anymore. After she left, I sat there nursing my beer, staring at the muted TV. Something felt different that night, heavier, like the air before a storm. That's when I saw it. Her laptop was still open on the kitchen counter, screen glowing. She'd been in a hurry, forgot to close it. I wasn't snooping, not at first. I just walked over to shut it down. That's when the notification popped up. Tinder. My stomach dropped. My hands started shaking. I should have closed the laptop, should have pretended I never saw it. Instead, I clicked. Her profile was active. Photos I'd never seen, professional-looking shots, beautiful poses, her wearing clothes I'd never seen her in. Her bio read, looking for someone who knows what they want and isn't afraid to go after it. But the messages, Christ, the messages were worse. Hundreds of them, dozens of different men, conversations that made my skin crawl. In one thread, she called me a broke handyman who can barely afford to take me out. In another, I deserve so much better than this blue-collar life. But the worst one, the one that burned itself into my brain forever. My husband's sweet, but he's weak. No ambition, no fire. I need a real man, someone who can give me the life I actually want. I read every single message, every cruel word, every lie she told about me, about us, about our marriage. By the time I finished, it was past midnight. I closed the laptop carefully, walked back to the couch, and sat there in the dark. My hands were still shaking. My chest felt tight, like someone was standing on it. I felt humiliated, betrayed, and completely alone. But mostly I felt trapped. If I filed for divorce, she'd get half of everything. My tools, my truck, my savings, maybe even a stake in my business. She didn't work, contributed nothing financially, but the law didn't care about that. I sat there until dawn, calculating my next move. 3 days later, I found myself at Murphy's pub. a dive bar near the industrial district where contractors and blue-collar guys went to forget their problems. I'd been nursing the same whiskey for an hour, running divorce scenarios through my head. Every single one ended the same way, me losing half my life to a woman who thought I wasn't good enough for her. I looked like hell, hadn't shaved in days, hadn't slept properly since finding those messages. My work clothes were wrinkled, my hands stained with electrical tape residue. That's when someone tapped my shoulder. "Mark, holy shit, man, is that you?" the voice said. I turned around and saw Ryan Mitchell, a guy I hadn't seen since college. But Ryan looked like he'd stepped off a magazine cover. Expensive suit, perfect haircut, Rolex catching the bar's dim light. He'd always been smooth, the kind of guy who could charm his way into anything. "Ryan," I managed, "what are you doing here?" He slid onto the bar stool next to me. "Business meeting ran late, saw this place, figured I'd grab a quick drink. But Jesus, you look like someone died. What's going on?" he asked. I hesitated. Ryan and I had been friends in college, but we drifted apart after graduation. He went into sales, I went into trades, different worlds. But something about seeing him there, looking successful while I felt like my world was falling apart, it broke something loose in me. I told him everything, the laptop, the messages, Jessica's secret life, the financial trap I was in. Ryan listened without interrupting, his expression getting darker with each detail. When I finished, he leaned back, swirling his whiskey. "You know what your problem is, Mark?" he asked. "What?" I replied. "You're playing defense. She's got you cornered and you're just taking it." He paused. "What if I told you there was a way to flip this whole thing around?" I looked at him. "What do you mean?" Ryan smiled, not warm but sharp, calculated. "She's looking for a rich guy, right? Someone to upgrade to." I nodded. "What if I became that guy?" He leaned closer. "I charm her, make her think she's hit the jackpot. She falls for me, files for divorce herself thinking she doesn't need a dime from you because she's found her meal ticket. Then I disappear. She gets nothing. You keep everything." I stared at him. "You do that?" "Why not? Sounds like she deserves it. Besides," he grinned, "it might be fun." "But what's in it for you?" I asked. "You buy me some nice dinners, cover my expenses, and we call it even. Consider it a favor for an old friend," he answered. I sat there processing what he was suggesting. It was manipulative, cruel, risky as hell. But so was what Jessica had been doing to me. "How would it work?" I asked. Ryan pulled out his phone. "Simple. I create a fake Tinder profile, make myself look irresistible. Rich entrepreneur, expensive lifestyle, the works. She'll match with me. Trust me, I know her type. Then I play the long game, make her fall hard enough that she'll throw away your marriage to be with me. And then," I pressed. "Then I break her heart the same way she broke yours," he said coldly. I thought about those messages again. A broke handyman? I deserve better. He's weak. I extended my hand. Deal. We shook on it. Ryan was already pulling up rental car websites on his phone. "This is going to be fun," he said. Looking back now, I realized that handshake changed everything. Not just for Jessica, but for me too. I was about to become someone I never thought I could be. What? Ryan moved fast. Within 24 hours, he'd transformed himself into Jessica's dream man. First, the car, a black Range Rover Sport, leased for 3 months. Then the house, a stunning modern mansion in Riverside Estates, the kind of neighborhood Jessica always slowed down to stare at when we drove through. He found it on a luxury vacation rental site, paid $8,000 for 2 weeks up front. But the real genius was in the details. Ryan bought clothes that actually fit him, designer shirts, Italian shoes, a watch that looked like it cost more than my truck. He hired a photographer for business headshots at upscale locations around the city, coffee shops in the financial district, the lobby of the Marriott downtown, even got shots of him stepping out of the Range Rover. His fake social media presence was a masterpiece. LinkedIn profile as CEO of an import-export company. Instagram filled with photos at high-end restaurants, airport lounges, business meetings in glass conference rooms. Every image screamed success and sophistication. Then came the Tinder profile. Ryan Mitchell, 34, entrepreneur and wine enthusiast, looking for someone real in a city full of fakes. The photos were perfect, confident but not arrogant, successful but approachable. In one shot, he's laughing at an upscale bar. In another, he's in a business suit checking his Rolex. The final photo showed him at the mansion's infinity pool, looking thoughtful and mysterious. Within 6 hours of going live, he had 47 match. Jessica was number 12. I watched it all unfold through screenshots Ryan sent me. Their first exchange was innocent enough. "Love your profile, that house is gorgeous," Jessica wrote. "Thanks, it's my little retreat from the chaos of business. Do you ever feel like you need an escape from your daily routine?" Ryan replied. She was hooked immediately. They moved from small talk to deeper conversation within hours. Ryan knew exactly what to say. He complimented her intelligence, asked about her dreams, made her feel seen and understood. Meanwhile, I was living a double life. Coming home every night to a wife who was texting another man constantly, watching her get dressed up for dates while pretending I didn't know where she was going. The hardest part was acting normal. Jessica would come home late, smelling like expensive cologne, with that glow women get when they feel desired. She'd shower immediately, hide her phone face down on the nightstand, and pretend everything was fine. "How was girls' night?" I'd ask. "Good," she'd answer. "Boring, really, you didn't miss anything." But I was seeing everything through Ryan's updates. Their first coffee date lasted 3 hours. Dinner 2 nights later went until midnight. By the end of week 1, she was spending entire evenings at the mansion, touring his home office, admiring his wine collection, completely convinced she'd found her Prince Charming. Ryan played it perfectly. He never came on too strong, never seemed desperate. Instead, he let her chase him. He'd take hours to respond to texts, always seeming busy with international business calls or investor meetings. It drove her wild. The messages Ryan showed me got more intimate by the day. "I've never met anyone like you. You make me feel like I can be myself," Jessica texted. "You deserve someone who sees your worth. I hope whoever you're with knows how lucky he is," Ryan responded. "He doesn't, not really," she replied. That message came on a Tuesday night. Jessica was in our bed, right next to me, telling another man that I didn't appreciate her. 2 weeks in, Ryan invited her to the mansion for a quiet dinner. He cooked something exotic and impressive, opened a $200 bottle of wine, put on jazz music. They talked until 2 a.m. about life, dreams, the future. Jessica called me that night to say she was staying at Sarah's because she'd had too much to drink. "Are you sure you're okay?" I asked, playing the concerned husband. "I'm fine, Sarah's taking good care of me. I'll be home tomorrow," she lied smoothly. But Sarah lived 20 minutes away. The mansion was an hour and a half from our house. When Jessica came home the next morning, she was different, glowing, confident. She looked at me like I was a stranger, or worse, like I was something she was already planning to leave behind. That's when I knew Ryan had succeeded. She was completely, hopelessly, dangerously in love with a man who didn't exist. The trap was set. Now we just had to wait for her to walk into it. It happened on a Thursday. I was in the garage, working on my truck's transmission, when Jessica walked in holding a manila envelope. She looked different, hair professionally styled, makeup perfect, wearing a dress I'd never seen before. She looked like she was dressed for something important. Something final. "Mark, we need to talk," she announced. I wiped my hands on a rag, straightened up. "What's up?" She held out the envelope. "I want you to sign these." I didn't take it immediately. "What are they?" "Divorce papers," she said. The words came out flat, matter-of-fact, like she was asking me to sign for a package. My stomach dropped, even though I'd been expecting this moment for weeks, even though it was part of the plan. The reality of hearing those words from my wife of 3 years hit harder than I'd prepared for. "Divorce papers," I repeated, putting just the right amount of shock in my voice. Jessica sighed like she was annoyed she had to explain. "I'm leaving you, Mark. I've met someone else, someone who can give me the life I deserve." I let the envelope sit on my workbench. "What are you talking about? Who is he?" Her face lit up when she said his name. Ryan Mitchell. He's an entrepreneur, owns his own business. He has a beautiful house in Riverside Estates, drives a Range Rover. He treats me like a queen, Mark, like I'm actually worth something. The knife twisted deeper. "So that's it, 3 years of marriage and you're just done." "I should have done this months ago," she replied, crossing her arms. "We both know this hasn't been working. You're a good person, Mark, but we're just incompatible. I need more than this life can offer." I picked up the envelope with hands that barely trembled. The papers inside were real. She'd paid an actual lawyer to draw them up. But as I read through them, I realized something that made my chest tight with a different kind of emotion. She was giving up everything. No limo. And why no asset division? No claim to my business, my tools, my truck, my savings account. Nothing. She just wanted out clean and simple, assuming her rich boyfriend would take care of her forever. "You're not asking for anything," I observed, looking up at her. She shrugged. "I don't need anything from you. Ryan can provide for me better than you ever could." There it was, the final insult. Not just that she was leaving, but that she considered me so worthless she wouldn't even take what the law would have given her. "You're sure about this?" I asked. "About him, about throwing away our marriage for someone you've known for what, a few weeks?" "I'm completely sure," she answered. Her voice was steady, confident. "Ryan is everything you're not, Mark. Ambitious, successful, passionate about life. He makes me feel alive again." I looked down at the papers again. "All right, if that's what you want." I signed them, every page, every line, without argument or negotiation. Jessica watched with surprise. I could see it in her face. She'd expected me to fight, to beg, to make a scene. Instead, I just let her go. When I handed the papers back, she actually looked confused. "That's it?" she asked. "What did you expect?" I replied. "I thought you'd, I don't know, try to talk me out of it," she said. I met her eyes. Would it change anything? She hesitated for just a moment. "No." "Then there's nothing to talk about," I concluded. She took the papers, held them against her chest like they were precious. "I'll be back this weekend to get my things, just my personal stuff, clothes, photos, that sort of thing." "Fine," I agreed. She turned to leave, then stopped. "Mark, for what it's worth, I'm sorry it ended this way. You're not a bad person, you're just not the right person for me." I nodded. "Good luck with Ryan." She smiled, the first genuine smile she'd given me in months. "Thank you. I think I'm finally going to be happy," she said softly. After she left, I sat on my workbench, surrounded by tools and oil stains, and pulled out my phone. My hands were shaking now, not from sadness or shock, but from something else. Anticipation. The plan was working perfectly. I texted Ryan. "It's done." She signed everything. His reply came immediately. "Beautiful. Phase 2 starts now." "What's Phase 2? I asked. "I disappear. The mansion lease runs out this weekend. The Range Rover goes back to the dealership Monday. All my social media gets deleted tonight. Ryan Mitchell ceases to exist," he explained. "And Jessica?" I pressed. "Jessica learns that her Prince Charming was just a guy her ex-husband hired to teach her a lesson," he replied coldly. I stared at the phone screen, processing what was about to happen. In 72 hours, Jessica's perfect new life would evaporate. The man she loved, the future she'd imagined, the security she thought she'd found, gone. She'd have no husband, no money, no home, no backup plan. And it would all be her choice. I typed back, "How long do you think it'll take her to figure it out?" "Give it 3 months. She'll be back begging for forgiveness," he predicted. 3 months seemed like a long time, but I was patient. I had waited this long for justice. I could wait a little longer. 3 months passed like a slow-burning fuse. My life became remarkably peaceful. I worked during the day, came home to a quiet house, watched TV, slept soundly. No drama, no arguments, no lies. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. The divorce was finalized within 6 weeks. Jessica's lawyer expedited everything since she wasn't asking for anything. I got official confirmation on a Tuesday morning. I was a free man, and it hadn't cost me a dime. I wondered sometimes how Jessica was doing, but Ryan had given me strict instructions. No contact, no checking up, no social media stalking. Complete radio silence. Let the plan work itself out naturally. But I heard things through mutual friends. Sarah mentioned that Jessica had moved in with her new boyfriend and seemed really happy. A week later, she said Jessica was going through a rough patch, but didn't elaborate. By month 2, Sarah stopped mentioning Jessica at all. I found out later what had really happened. Ryan disappeared the day after our divorce was finalized. He packed up the rented mansion, returned the Range Rover to the dealership, and deleted every trace of his fake online presence. His phone number was disconnected. His social media profiles vanished. Ryan Mitchell simply stopped existing. Jessica tried everything to find him. She drove to the mansion, empty, with a "for rent" sign in the yard. She called the import-export company from his LinkedIn profile. The number belonged to a pizza place in Cleveland. She reached out to mutual contacts from his social media, all fake accounts or paid actors. The man she'd left me for had vanished completely. At first, she convinced herself there was a reasonable explanation. Business emergency. Family crisis. Something that would explain why the love of her life had suddenly ghosted her. But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Reality hit hard. She'd quit her part-time job at the boutique because Ryan had told her she'd never need to work again. She'd given up our house, our life, our future for a man who never existed. She had no savings. She'd never needed them when she was married to me. No backup plan, no safety net. She ended up taking a job as a waitress at a chain restaurant just to afford a motel room. Her manicured nails chipped from washing dishes. Her designer clothes got replaced by polyester uniforms. The woman who'd thought she deserved better than a blue-collar life was now living paycheck to paycheck. And that's how she ended up at my door on a Sunday afternoon, looking like her world had collapsed. Because it had. Now sitting across from me in my living room, Jessica was telling me everything. How Ryan had vanished, how the house was a rental, how she'd lost everything, how she was sorry, how she'd made a terrible mistake. "I know I hurt you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I know I said terrible things, but I was confused, Mark. I thought I wanted something different, but I was wrong, so wrong." I listened without interrupting, didn't offer her a tissue, didn't move from my position leaning against the wall. "I've been working at Applebee's just to survive," she continued. "Living in a motel room by the highway. I have nothing, Mark. No savings, no family support, no friends who'll take me in. I made such a mess of everything." She looked up at me with desperate eyes. "I know it's a lot to ask, but can we try again? Can we fix this? I'll do anything to make it right." The room was quiet except for the sound of her crying. Then I started laughing. Not loud or cruel, just a low, cold chuckle that made her face change from hopeful to confused to afraid. "Fix this," I repeated. "Jessica, there's nothing to fix." "But I made a mistake," she began. "You didn't make a mistake," I interrupted. "You made a choice. You looked at our marriage, looked at me, and decided we weren't good enough. You called me weak, said I had no ambition, told strangers on the internet that you deserved better than a blue-collar life." Her face went white. "You saw those messages." "Every single one," I answered. I pushed off from the wall, took a step closer. "You didn't just cheat, Jessica. You betrayed everything we built together. You threw away 3 years of marriage for a fantasy." "But the fantasy was a lie," she protested. "So was our marriage, apparently," I replied coldly. I crouched down so we were eye level. "You want to know the truth? Ryan Mitchell doesn't exist, never did." The confusion in her eyes was beautiful. "What?" "He's an old college friend who owed me a favor. The house, rental, the car, rental, the business, fake. Every single thing you fell in love with was designed to make you throw away your marriage," I explained. I watched understanding dawn on her face. The horror, the humiliation, the devastating realization that she'd been completely, utterly played. You planned this," she whispered. "Every detail," I confirmed. "You wanted to leave me for a richer man, so I gave you a richer man. You signed divorce papers without asking for a penny because you thought you'd found someone better, so I let you." She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. "How could you do this to me?" "How could you do what you did to me?" I shot back. "You had an emotional affair for months. You humiliated me behind my back. You threw away our marriage like it was garbage." "But I learned my lesson. I know better now," she pleaded. "You learned that your Prince Charming was fake. That's not the same thing as realizing what you lost," I said. Jessica stood up, desperation making her voice crack. "So what now? You're just going to let me suffer, let me be homeless?" I walked to the front door, opened it. "I'm not letting you do anything. Your situation is the result of your choices. You gambled everything on a fantasy and lost." She didn't move. "I have nowhere to go." "That stopped being my problem the day you signed those papers," I replied. She stood there for a long moment, trembling. Then she walked toward the door. At the threshold, she turned back. "I loved you, Mark, I really did." "No," I said quietly. "You loved the security I provided. You never loved me." She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it, because she knew I was right. After she left, I closed the door and went back to my couch. The game was still on. The Rams were still losing. My beer was still cold. I picked up my phone and texted Ryan. "It's over. She came back. I sent her away." His reply was immediate. "How do you feel?" I thought about it. I didn't feel happy, didn't feel vindicated or triumphant, but I felt something else. Free. I typed back. I feel like I can finally move on. And F. For the first time in months, I meant it. The crowd roared on TV. I took a sip of my beer and exhaled. Just as it turned out, tasted like peace. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.